Do you know who Jan is? I'm not going to make an attempt at his last name. Jan is the founder of Reflexivity. It's a company that is basically going to change the way the stock market works. There are companies right now who will condense everything that is on Seeking Alpha and Zacks and financial, Yahoo Financial, and present that information to you on a timely morning basis using AI as a means of helping you make better investment decisions. They charge, it's Alpha Sense, they charge about $15,000 a year to get that. There used to be some competition in Centio, but Alpha Sense absorbed them, and along comes Jan. And Jan is saying, we're going to take it the next step. We're going to hook it up to quantum computing. We're going to hook it up to GPUs and huge data centers, and we'll actually do the trading for you. Now, who's he going to make this available to? He's very open. He's going to make it available to the hedge funds and the large-scale investors, and they're going to put you and I out of the business. That's basically what it is. If in every trade there is a winner and loser, who do you think the losers are going to be? They're going to take this thing and turn it upside down, unless we can get through the front door. And how would you do that? We got to come together. What is this going to cost? Well, if Alpha Sense costs $15,000 a year, I would guess that Reflexivity is going to cost somewhere around $50,000 a year, at least, because it's going to do the trading for you. It's going to change the whole world. So how do we as investors compete, or do we just walk away from the stock market and just become house flippers and invest in the real estate market? Well, Wall Street's in that as well. So how do we compete? Well, first of all, I want you to understand what you're competing with. So I want you to watch this interview with Jan and come to an understanding of what's going to happen. He says in the next 3 to 6 years. Watch this.
How does this work? And how deep is this model in terms of the data and how far it goes back?
So our goal is to be able to really leverage both the AI technology and cloud compute to give a complete health check to every security every day and kind of give you a sense of, is the market vulnerable to a correction? How is the macro environment relevant for this? We understand that every business obviously depends on its own fundamentals, but also the context in which it operates. So we try to give you a kind of a complete compilation and analysis every morning.
How good is this?
It's very good.
You back tested, I assume.
Yes, but the goal really is to give an analyst or a portfolio manager this kind of superpower, right? I think we always want to go to the data, but it's often tedious to do it, build a spreadsheet every time and so on. And so this makes it a lot easier.
So how much does this replace some of the functions on Wall Street? I mean, if you're talking about building models and spreadsheets, that sounds to me like a lot of the research that is done on Wall Street.
Yes. So the goal for us is to build an autonomous investment analyst. That is the ultimate goal. On the way there, I think that we have created a lot of technology that helps you with things that when you're logging into a Bloomberg terminal feel like they'll take you a long time to do. And so if you can just say, this is the question I'd like to answer, and rely on the engine to go and find the data and then run the analysis, you take something that would have taken 2 hours and do it in 2 minutes.
So can you give us an example?
Yeah, for example, let's say that right now, as you guys were having a discussion around, growth for a specific company and so on, let's say your question is next year, we're going to have an environment of possibly higher inflation, higher interest rates, pro-growth environment. What are the securities that in the past have done well within a certain sector and are not as sensitive or have market beta below 1?
Okay.
In about 30 seconds, the system can come back and say, like, here is, based on 12 or 15 past episodes, the selection of securities that will correspond to what you're looking for.
Okay, so you just outlined some of the parameters. Does it take into consideration the context? We're in a declining interest rate environment or a rising interest rate environment. We are, what the macro is as well.
Yeah, so exactly that is exactly what it does. It tries to find parallels from the past to give you a sense of what the price pattern going forward could look like.
Wow. So how do you envision this? Is this going to be an additional sort of service layered on top of another platform? Is this a standalone? Do you sell subscription? Like, how do you monetize this?
So our clients are primarily top hedge funds who are using this as a kind of an intelligent overlay on top of all of the different data sources they have access to. And so through a platform like ours, they can actually connect them and make sense of the whole as opposed to switching between different platforms all the time.
It's amazing what can be done these days.
And that's the question. The question just is how accurate it's going to be. That's the thing ICE can't figure out, and we don't really know.
So I think what you are able to see over time is that you can obviously look at how some of the recent predictions have worked out, right? If you look at the market as a whole. Right. So for example, it very correctly called the peak in July. It very correctly called the false rally that we had right after that, but then again correctly called the bottom. So because it creates this completely independent assessment of each security.
Okay, but what does it get wrong? You told us all the stuff it got right.
No, of course. So for example, just really recently, it turned bullish a little bit too early. We recently had when the Fed came and said, like, look, we're not going to do 4 cuts, we're going to do 2. That was something that was a catalyst that actually saw the market sell off first, probably big sell.
Do you understand why it got it wrong? Now that you know how you put it together?
Because I think these are always probabilistic assessments. So it's not even that it's wrong. It's saying like, okay, with 70% confidence, this is what's going to happen. There's still the 30% where it doesn't happen.
How far are we from a day where you attach this to just automated trading? So based on what the model spits out, it executes a trade. And so therefore you've sort of supplanted the whole ecosystem.
Yes. Look, I think that's certainly coming, right? It's hard to say that there's something so special about human intelligence that we should be better at trading.
It's hard to say that there's something so special as human intelligence.
No, what I mean to say is that if you are able to give the system so much compute power,
right,
and the intelligence continues to improve, at some point it's not crazy to think that the systems will be better at trading than humans are.
So entire trading floors.
Just bots.
Gone.
I mean, this is not tomorrow, obviously, right? But
sure.
I think
but predict out. What are we talking about here?
So everything that we have so far forecast had happened faster than we expected, right?
No, I know, but I'm just saying, if you're a real estate guy in New York City
yes.
and you own buildings that are
being... You're a trader in New York City.
So if you're a trader in New York City and you're living on one of these trading floors watching us right now, how long are you going to do that for?
So I would say that the horizon that you're probably looking at is somewhere between 5 and 10 years, where I think you'll have a meaningful impact from systems like this, right? It doesn't mean that it's going to replace it entirely, but you're going to start to see the impact of this. So it'll be better in certain areas than in other areas, depending on the complexity of the instrument, depending on the amount of data that you have available for some things versus others. Private markets, for example, will be harder because it's just not as easy to get the data as they are for public markets.
If this is the first that you have heard of this, I would suggest now is the time to hit the subscribe button and ring the bell. Because if you don't keep up with this, I tell you, you're going to get hit by a Mack truck. This is going to creep up on you and you aren't going to know what hit you. So how do we, you and I, compete with this? Damn it, we don't. We don't have the access to billions of dollars to build a trading system that tells us doesn't even tell us. It does the trading for us. We got to sign up. We got to give them the $50 million a year so that we're a part of it, or we're out of the game. The game is over. Now, he said, I think it was, 6 to 10 years? I'll give him 3 years. I mean, it's the same as ChatGPT. It's hit new levels in what it was. It came out in November of 2022, or 2 years. I'll guarantee you some level of this will be happening by this time in 2026. So we've got to be prepared. Now, how can we, you, I, the tribe, we sign up? We get access to the information, or the stock market's done as far as anybody who isn't in the program. It becomes an elitist investment vehicle, and you and I find our own way somewhere else. So what do you and I do to do this? We build a community. We build a community of 1 million people who are contributing to a system that can gain access, that can get through the front door. And that's going to cost money. So let's just do the numbers. If you come to me and say, I want to be a part of this, and I'm willing to give you, Kerry, right now $20 a month, $19.95, to be a part of your gold platform. And when this comes available, I understand whatever it is, I want to be a part of it. Well, if there's 1 million of us and we've got $20 million coming in a month, we can pay to get in. Okay? We won't be left out. We can have access to everything they do. If we don't come together and do this, it's game over. I don't care how good your information is and how good your YouTuber is and how good your financial advisor is. If you aren't an insider, it isn't going to happen. There's going to be winners in every trade. There's a winner and a loser. It's just like the casino. It's just like the poker table. It's just like the football games. 50% of the players will lose this weekend. 50% of the investors will lose in 3 to 5 years as quantum computing, as artificial intelligence takes it over and makes the decision. It's going to come down to who's got the best machine. And that's going to come down to who's got the most money. How are you going to compete with Stanley Druckenmiller? That's who's behind this reflexivity. Do your research. Go into ChatGPT. Find out about reflexivity. And you're going to see Henry Druckenmiller's name, that he's put up money. These hedge funds have put up money and say, build us the magic machine that gives us control of the stock market, and we'll eat those people alive. Well, you got a choice, and now is the time. So you've subscribed. That's the first thing. You hit the bell. That's the second thing. Now go to my website, Best of Us Investors, and sign up. I'm doing this for 60 stocks. I'm doing exactly what they're saying to do. You're studying the numbers. You're creating the models. You're back testing. I'm back testing against companies like Google, Amazon, Microsoft, and more recently Nvidia. I have seen the tells. I know what they do before they explode. They go out and hire people. Well, how do you find that? You go to the bottom of their financial, not their financials, their balance sheet in it, and you go back to 2014 and you say, how many people did you have on your staff in 2014, 15, 16, 17? And you will find that Nvidia increased their staff by 56% between 2021 and 2023. They increased their debt by 33%. Well, what do you do if you're a company about the time you're going to explode because you have found a new opportunity, a new purpose for your GPUs? You found beyond gaming, and you heard Sam Altman. You talked to Sam Altman 2 years ago, and he says, we're creating this thing called a large language platform that is going to give us access to all the knowledge in the world, and it's going to explode. And Jensen, we're going to need your GPUs. Jensen went out and hired the best computer engineers in the world, and he increased his debt by 33%. That's how you spot these things. That's what Yuan of Reflexivity is going to do for 60,000 stocks. I can do it for 660, but I can't do it for 60,000. But with your $20 a month, I can get you through the door. I think. Without it, I know we can't. We got to get this to 1 million people. And this is your opportunity. There are 66 million of us in the world, roughly 33 million here in the United States and another 33 million outside the United States that trade our own portfolios. And if we do not get access to this artificial intelligence or some other form of it, it's game over. The ball's in your court. what are you going to do?